A number of municipalities continue to drown in financial difficulties. Auditor General Tsakani Maluleke has lashed out, saying some municipalities can't even put basic financial statements together. Municipal financial mismanagement, often with no consequences for those responsible, has put a strain on the fiscus for many years. To speak to us more on the financial position of local municipalities and their failure to keep clean audits, we're joined now by Miyelani Holeni, Group Chief Advisor for Ntiyiso Consulting. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Why do we keep failing at this? You must have some insights.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the listeners. So what we've seen, and we largely concur with the statement that the AG has mentioned, but this is rooted on the research that we have done for the revenue maturity model. We see that 62% of the respondents have indicated that the high vacancy rate which exists in municipalities is a key inhibitor for implementation of strategy. So we've seen that there are quite a number of vacancies, especially key positions around finance, around the technical areas, and those are the skills that are scarce. In some of the cases, you find acting CFOs, you find acting revenue managers, and you even find acting municipal managers. And those positions go sometimes for a long time without being filled.
But I thought we are doing a great job of producing CFOs and CAs in this country. Are they just not interested in working for municipalities? Is that what the problem is?
The thing about the local government space, most of the CAs that would want to join the local government would have to contend with 5-year contracts. Some are maybe wary of the dynamics of local government, some having been trained in the private sector and have not quite understood the dynamics of local government, which in our opinion, it's decent work that can be done to take the country forward. So some of the municipalities unfortunately find themselves in the outskirts where skills are not as willing to travel to leave the urban areas to go and work within the outskirts of the country.
Yeah, but Mr. Holeni, it's not just an issue that's happening in peri-urban or rural parts of our country. We're seeing these failed audits, these audits that aren't registered as clean or stamped as approved, happen even in our big cities. Why is that?
So the issue is, as you said, vacancy rates, high vacancy rates that we found. But here's another issue. In some of the areas, you find that the staff are not adequately trained. So as soon as an adequately trained CFO or revenue manager or budget officer leaves, there would have to be an acting person who acts within that role. And oftentimes, they are not yet ready to be taking up the big responsibility of someone who may have been in the budget office for 15 plus years or 20 plus years.
And whose fault is it that they're not ready? Whose fault is it that they're not ready? And who's being kept accountable? Because these are all about public finances paid for by our taxes.
In terms of where we are seeing the issue of succession, local government as well as government in general have not been proactive with regards to succession planning. So who has to be held accountable? I think it's a number of stakeholders. There are ways and means with National Treasury to beef up the skills of finance people by taking them through, whether it's RPL or through Wits Business School and other universities like the University of Pretoria to beef up the skills. So there are efforts taking place, but we are also seeing a high staff turnover. About 31% of staff turnover within local government. So on the one hand, there's training that is taking place. The high vacancy rate comes forth. The staff have to fill in terms of the positions. So it's a number of issues that have to be addressed within the local government space.
But this results in wastage, as we know. Money goes missing, money can't be accounted for. Again, as I said before, it's taxpayers' money. So we're all obviously concerned because we can't see this endless draining of the fiscus or improper management of funds and finances. At what point do we start to say we need a different way to work this? Is it supposed to be privatized? How do we fix this situation? The way you're talking to me, it sounds like we're 15, 20 years away, because when people leave with 15 to 20 years of experience, there's nobody to come in.
the reality of where we are is a lot of the functions, or at least a number of functions within local government currently, are still operated manually. If I want to go and open an account, I must physically go and stand in front of an officer to open the account, submit my documents. So what we see as a solution going forward is to start automating the menial tasks that would result in proper record keeping, that would result in long processes being shortened, that would then free up time for the more strategic work and to recruit people that are going to be doing strategic work. So the automation and the digitization of municipalities is a crucial task that needs to be undertaken. And that will start to alleviate points where, for instance, you may go into the rates hall and you may not find assistance as quickly as you need to. So that is the digitization that we are at least advocating that it should be done. Because 44% of the systems, as we have seen with our research, show that there is no monitoring systems. And we also see that 55% of the processes within municipalities are still manual. So those are the areas that we believe that to also beef up or to alleviate the skills shortages, we also need to look at how we get into the digitization.
Sure. So you're working as the consultant.
That it can work online.
You're working as the consultant to these municipalities that are having failed audits over and over again. How are you going to be judged? Are you saying that once you've done your work, the next audit is going to be approved?
So in very simple terms, without going into specific details, we work with 2 municipalities in the outskirts of South Africa, of which one is a new municipality. And this municipality was qualified for the past 2 years. This year, because of our intervention, we have been able to move it to an unqualified position. Another one has been a municipality that has been qualified and has been in existence since the dawn of municipalities. But for the first time, it has been unqualified. So we are working at beefing up skills. So very simply, skills transfer is a big issue from our side because we don't see ourselves hanging around within municipalities to do the work that municipal officials should be doing. We then believe in transferring the skills and building the foundation such that the municipality can then move on and be proficient in their tasks.
Thank you, Miyelani Holeni, Group Chief Advisor for Ntiyiso Consulting, will be judged by audits that are clean.